People don't know how to file taxes. They don't even know how to register their car. They don't know how to do simple things that we call being an adult. And giving these college kids a lot of money at one time is either going to go one or two ways. Some kids are going to have good families and good backgrounds. They're going to be able to help them with their money, take care of it, and prosper. And the harsh reality of it is some kids are going to get this money and they're never going to see it again.
You are tuned in to the Money Script Podcast. Today we will share strategies to help you grow your financial literacy and improve your money script. I'll be back with some important announcements. Until then, enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Money Script Podcast. It's your host, Johannes Harrison. It's been a minute. Yeah, we took a short hiatus. I was on some side quests. No side quests are still going. So thank you to all the new listeners of our brand new podcast, Only Human, which is for advisors. So if you're listening to this, you're like, what is that one? It's for advisors. We're talking about AI and how we incorporate it into financial planning. And then to all my docs out there that have been tuning in to our new favorite podcast, Becoming an Attending, and shout out to all the docs that I saw in Chicago at NMA, the National Medical Association. It was the biggest display of Black excellence I've ever seen since the Essence Fest, but kind of different because, I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire wasn't there, but they had the fans. The fans were there. Anyway, but my point is, it was a great time. Shout out to all you docs. It was good to meet all of you. But the Money Script Podcast, we are back. We are live, and we are kicking off our new season with someone who I would say is someone I admire tremendously. For those who watch on YouTube, you see him there already. And I know him because of my wonderful Carolina Panthers. Yes, still a fan. This is our year. We say it every year, and I'm going to say it every year after that. But I want to introduce everyone to the undrafted free agent from 2020. Has been with the Raiders, been with the Giants, of course, my Panthers, the Steelers, and the United Football League. He's been out there, man. He's probably still out there running routes. He's probably running routes as soon as we're done with this. Madre Harper, welcome to the Money Script Podcast. How are you, my good man?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm great. Can't complain. Happy to be on here, talk about some great topics. So I'm excited.
Oh, so speaking of which, we were talking before the show got started. I had this whole plan of what we were going to talk about and some of the unknowns as it deals with NIL and college players getting paid and how athletes tend to go broke. And then we wake up this morning to a new executive order being signed. And now, for those of you that are keeping up with the news, he's on a roll right now. Go watch South Park if you want to laugh. But so he signed. So the president signed a new executive order this morning called Saving College Sports. So we're going to dig into that a little bit because I've got my opinions. Madre has his opinions. But the bigger topic here that we want to dig into and why I asked Madre to be on the show today is because I was following him on Instagram, and he was going off about players that are going on all these side quests with their finances, where they're dabbling in businesses that they don't know nothing about, that they're not hiring the right people to help them, and how they're going broke, and how they have to have better financial literacy. And I said, I need to get him on the podcast. And you were a yes. I appreciate you for that. So, but let's start. We're going to come back to this new bill, but let's just start with let's just level set a bit how the industry has changed with players getting paid while they're in college, because I believe that didn't happen until after you were already in the league.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So as someone that, you came to the league the year before it happened.
Yeah,
so
I was a COVID baby.
How did that make you feel as a pro athlete? Did you feel like you missed out on something?
Absolutely. Missing out on money. I feel like, me going to Oklahoma State, I probably could have got some money out of them, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, I was happy for my counterparts that are able to live a little bit better, get some money. The colleges make a lot of money. There's no reason that players shouldn't be paid, from women's to men. It doesn't really matter. But so, obviously, yes, I wish I would have had it, but it's okay at the same time. That grind, I still had that grind, so it was okay.
No, you still have that grind to this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see. So tell me, when we think about the players that are now able to make that money at a high school level, one of my concerns with that is that most colleges still don't have financial literacy as a requirement for graduation. I mean, I was a business major, and even as a business major, there was no personal finance. It was 1 or 2 chapters while I was in accounting or one of those courses, 1 or 2 chapters that covered it. But still, I mean, even if you think about someone like a physician, as I spoke about earlier, they take a lot of science classes. They come out making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, and don't know the difference in a W-2 and a 1099. So how then, I mean, aren't we, in my opinion, aren't we just creating more financial problems for these athletes? It's like we're throwing money at the problem, which solves one thing, but doesn't that just create more problems in your opinion?
No, absolutely. Well, for me, you got to remember that college is a business. So they're not in the business of educating people properly because they are taking a lot of money. I mean, yes, I'm not saying college is not necessary. Whether you want to go to college or not is up to you, but it is a business because they do make money. They make a lot of money from sports, from advertising to look at UT. UT has their own network. I mean, they make a lot of money from donors, different things like that. But you are correct. They should be providing some type of class to these athletes, to students, to people that are going to go off in life and make money. People don't know how to file taxes. They don't even know how to register their car. They don't know how to do simple things that we call being an adult. And giving these college kids a lot of money at one time, either going to go one or two ways. Some kids are going to have good families and good backgrounds. They're going to be able to help them with their money, take care of it, and prosper. And the harsh reality of it, some kids are going to get this money and they're never going to see it again. They're going to spend it. They're going to get out of college. They're not going to make it to the league, or they may make it to the league, however it goes, and they may never make the money again. And it's just unfortunate, but it's kind of what's going to happen. And I don't know, is the program, the coach that you're under going to force financial literacy? I think it's upon him, not necessarily the school, but the program that you're under to kind of
Okay.
force that upon them. They bring people in all the time to speak, to talk, to share life advice. Other players come back. Why do we not bring somebody in to help with finance and not just sit in front of me how we're sitting and just talk about it? I'm talking about sitting down with each student saying, hey, if you need help with your finances, we have this resource to help you go through everything and create a budget, a plan, X, Y, and Z.
So funny you mentioned that. I teach financial literacy courses on a few college campuses, and one of the parts of the workshop that I provide with every student, no matter freshman, sophomore, junior, one of the first workshops we do is I have them all, you have to bring your computer to class, and they all go and pull up their credit reports. And some scary things have come from that. We had students that found out that their parents were stealing their identity. Had credit
Happens all
cards
the
in their
time.
name, cars in their name, houses in their name, and the students were completely oblivious to it. So we had students pulling up and they had 840 credit scores, and students pulling up with 550s, and they didn't even know how it happened.
Right.
So, and that was the thing. For some of those students, it was their first time ever looking at their credit report. And some of them were senior, 21, 22 years old, going into the real world. Like, you got to go get an apartment in a few months, and you've never seen your credit report.
So that's me.
It's terrifying. Oh, that was you? Okay.
I didn't have bad credit, but I didn't have no credit. So my parents never opened. Thank the Lord. They never opened up anything. They never used my Social Security for nothing. So I didn't have any credit, but they never talked to me about credit because I guess my mom was like, you don't need any credit. You don't have any discipline right now in college. So it was good and bad. It was a good thing that she knew her child, knowing that me having a credit card, I wouldn't have had the discipline. I just wouldn't have. So instead of ruining my credit, let's just not get him any credit at all. But at the bad side of it, I didn't talk about it. So when I got to the league, I got my signing bonus. I was making money, and I couldn't get an approved for an apartment. I couldn't get a loan for a car. My mom had to co-sign.
Wow. No way.
I had $500,000 in my bank account, and I couldn't get a car loan.
That is insane.
And it was crazy. Now, it's not, like I said, I'm not blaming my parents because they knew their child, but I was like, dang, y'all never thought about, I don't know, opening up a credit card and then, using it for gas when I got out of college. But see, like you said, that takes real discipline. My parents are not going to just do that for me without telling me, not knowing, what could happen in life. Like you said, I've had friends in high school whose credit's been ruined since high school because their parents had apartments in their name, credit cards, and ruined them.
Phone
and they
bill,
get to college,
all that stuff.
And they get to college, had no clue, and they're still paying for it to this day. And I'm 27. I have friends that still have stuff on their credit report from their parents when we was in high school, and they're still paying for it to this day.
And they may continue to pay for it many years in the future because when you have poor credit, the banks charge you higher interest rates. So you're paying for, even though you may have learned your lesson, you continue to pay for that mistake over and over. So what we're talking about here, Madre, are what are known as money scripts. So these are the unconscious and sometimes conscious lessons that we learn from money. And most of us learn these lessons from the people that we're raised with, whether it's our parents our grandparents or siblings. We see their relationship with money, and we create our own identities with money, whether it's around scarcity or if it's around the plethora of money that's out there. When we pick those ideas up, we also develop our own relationship with how we're going to act within our finances, whether we're going to have that abundance mindset or that scarcity mindset, whether we're going to understand how taxes work, understand how our credit works, etc. So do you feel that you mentioned that the coaches should have some sort of obligation to take care of their players financially, but who else do you think the responsibility should lie with in order to improve the financial literacy of these college students?
Well, it's gonna have to go back to the parents. I mean, to be honest with you, do you really expect the school to step in when they're obviously requesting money from the kids to go to school? Yes, it'd be nice if the school would have some type of financial literacy program, but we all know people do like more of like a soft approach when it comes to money or finance. They say, "Hey, we have a free class," but nobody took it. Well, when it
Mm,
comes to football players and athletes, and I'm sure you know you work with some, you kind of have to put it in their schedule. Like, I don't think people understand that. You have to put it a part of the routine. Yes, you should take it upon yourself to go do it and learn it, but everybody's not doesn't have that personality. They may not be like us. We're going to go research. We're going to go sort out the information. Some people you have to put it in their schedule. If you put it in their schedule, mandatory finance classes, they have no choice but to go and learn because they're going to be in the room. So that's why I say either the parents or the coaches. But let's be honest, most parents that I played with, at least I can't speak for everybody, they never made 100, they never made 100,000. They never had $1 million. They never made six figures a year. They may have a good job, but getting 300K at 18, 19, 20, like my young bull, you know what I'm saying? He at OU, he's making $1 million. So it's like most parents are not gonna have that literacy right there. So how do they help? But they have to go seek the information and then provide it for their kids. But we all know that some parents are not gonna know how to act, and they feel like since their child is paid, they're paid. So
yeah, no,
and
I
so that's the
yes,
whole thing right there.
I've dealt with it with a. I have a nephew that went to the NFL.
Mhm,
I worked with a first round pick,
mhm.
20 years ago, and man, talk about everyone being in this guy's pockets.
Man, everybody feels
Everyone.
like they're
And
entitled.
that's actually why I stopped working. He was one of the key reasons I stopped working with professional athletes. Is because
Oh,
I
man.
couldn't deal with I couldn't deal with it
Yeah, it's a
because
lot.
well, that was the thing. He came to me and said, "I want you to be my financial advisor. I'm going to hire you, help me manage my money." But then
Yeah.
he wouldn't listen. And
Yeah, they don't.
then it
It
turns
only works if
into
they listen.
yeah, then
Arguments, battles.
his mama's
Y
calling me, telling me what to do with his money. His brother or his cousins calling me, telling me to do with the money. The uncle's calling. It's
Yeah,
like, who are all these people? Like, who's the financial advisor? Is it me or is it them? Oh, well, that's my
yeah.
mom. I'm like, yeah, but your mom never seen this guy. Mom made 50, 60 grand. It's like, she's never seen this kind of money.
He's going to bleed you dry. You don't know how many dudes I play with. I'm talking about not the rich dudes. I'm talking about the lower round guys like me. Mama quit their job. He's paying for her rent. He's paying his rent. And obviously, we try to stay at each other's business, but this is like my dog. We grew up together out here. We both made to league. And I'm telling him, I was like, bro, if you keep paying your mama's rent, you're going to be broke, bro. Like,
Mm,
we undrafted. We have no idea what each year holds.
that's
Your
true.
mama needs to go to work. And I know that sounds crazy, guys, talk about somebody's mama, but this was my dog because, and that thing ended up happening. We only made it so far. And then, the money starts going away. Things start piling up. Things start happening. I'm just like, I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I mean, you gotta reel it back. I'm not saying guys not to help out your family, but you gotta help you. If you go downhill, who's gonna help you?
Secure your own oxygen mask first. I say it all the time.
Come on
Gotta
now.
put you will pass out trying to help even if it's your child. And I've brought this phrase up often. If you're a fan of the podcast, you've heard me say it before. But I fly all over the country with my 8-year-old daughter in tow, and they
Hmm.
make that announcement every single time. Be sure to secure your own oxygen mask before securing that of others. And some airlines will say, including young children, because they're
Yeah.
reminding you. And I could not imagine those oxygen masks dropping and having to have the discipline to
Hmm.
say, before I help my 8-year-old baby girl,
Hmm.
I gotta put mine on first, or I
Yeah.
may pass out trying to help her, and then who can I save at that point? And you gotta
Absolutely.
look at your money the same way. If you don't
Absolutely.
get your financial literacy down pat, if you're not understanding how all these different investment accounts and 401ks and IRAs and annuities and player contract, if you don't understand that, you can't help anyone else.
Absolutely.
You will die trying,
Yep.
financially, that is. So
Mhm.
speaking of, let's transition, because let's go to a crucial topic. And this is probably one of the most prolific topics when it comes to money in professional sports. There's been dozens of papers and documentaries on it. 30 for 30 has done something on it. ESPN went really deep. Well, that is ESPN, but there's many different outlets that went pretty deep on the topic. And the most recent statistics state that 78% of NFL players report financial distress or bankruptcy within a few years of retirement. 78%. That's a large majority. And NBA isn't as bad, but it's still a majority. And the same is true with the WNBA.
They got a
MLS,
better
and
group.
MLB.
Yeah. NBA got a better group. They talk money amongst each other more than
Well,
the NFL
NBA,
does.
that's NBA stands for never broke again. So
Yeah.
they got it all.
They be
got it
helping each
figured out.
other.
And most recently, NFL, the Players Association, one of the leaders of the Players Association, just had to resign.
I ain't mad at him.
For
player engagement. That's
player engagement.
Now you should have did it a different way, but if the players are with you and you're going out having a good time, I see no wrong. But that's just me, guys. I'm sorry. I mean, hey, they're having a good time, but you can't do that. You can't do that. It's bad.
It's bad. Bad. Shame on you.
Shame.
Pick a different club, or
Cash
can I
app.
introduce you to this place called ATM?
Yep.
Meaning the one at the bank. You go there first.
Yep.
Okay? You go to the bank. I'm not telling you how to break the rules. I'm just telling you how to do things in a more eloquent manner.
There we go.
So let's talk a little bit about these players that are going broke after having their hands on all of these hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions. Just out of curiosity for you specifically, and you touched on this a little bit, but when you first hit the league, you mentioned you had almost $500,000 in your bank account, still had poor credit. What was your relationship with money prior to having it? Like, what was your money script?
Broke as a joke. I was broke as a joke in college. Once I left Oklahoma State, went to SIU, I was the janitor, was working hard. We only got like $700 a month. So I was just thankful just to have some money. But my parents, my mom is really good with money, but they're on the old school spectrum of it, where you work a lot, you save your money, you try not to have any debt, and you really don't do nothing. You cook at home, you don't really go anywhere. You take trips maybe every so slightly, and that's pretty much it. So my relationship with money was, okay, I know I need to save. Don't get anything that I can't pay in cash. And I need to live like whatever I get or whatever I accumulate, I need to be able to pay for it with a regular job. That was my whole process.
Man, that's a good money script. That's good.
Yeah. So for me, don't get nothing off of this salary, because can I maintain this salary if I wasn't in the league? And for 90% of guys, and that's why most guys go broke. It's obviously, yes, it's 1/3. Okay, guys, obviously just spending too much. Okay, that's the basics of it. Don't have a budget, spending too much. It's 1/3. They just can't make the same income outside the league, which we all know is hard to do. And then 3, they just didn't play long enough to get generational money. So we call it I tell other dudes in the league, like, it's just your get ahead money. It's just startup money. It's just get you a little ahead in life. You didn't make life changing money, but you got to do something with it. And as long as you don't work, the money's still going to go away.
Yeah.
So you got to do something. And then, bad investments, et cetera, et cetera. So that was kind of my thing in the league. How do I live like a regular job? If I got a job that was $60K a year, could I still afford to do this? And obviously, guys, I'm not perfect. I bought chains. I bought dumb stuff. I went out. I've done dumb stuff.
I've heard some of your stories about that. Yeah.
I'm not exempt, but by no means. But, I always knew, my mom always told me, you better save. You better have a savings. You better have a savings.
So yeah. Do you think that part of the problem also is the peer pressure to the keeping up with the Kardashians, Joneses? Do you think that that's still a problem in the NFL and some of the other sports leagues?
Well, absolutely. Think about it. A lot of us were broke. So we want nice things, and you see guys with nice things, and it's not a jealousy factor. It's I work hard too. I go out to practice just
I won too. Yeah, I won that game too.
You feel what I'm saying? But I think dudes have to realize, yeah, he drives a Rolls Royce, but he's been playing 10 years. He's Christian McCaffrey. He's Cam Newton. He made M's. He can drive that. You may be able to afford that now, but are you going to be on track 10 years from now? And a lot of guys are going to say, yeah, I'm going to play 10 years. I'm going to play 8 years. I'm going to go get 50 million. But as we both know, it doesn't work like that. We all know that you can be as good as you want in the league, but if the people upstairs don't believe that, you'll never get paid. I don't care what you do. I don't care how many picks you catch. I don't care how well you do in practice. I don't care how healthy you are. If the people upstairs don't believe in you, they'll never pay you. And that's just the reality of it. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it goes.
Now, you took an interesting turn, and I think it has a lot to do with your financial literacy, as we discussed. And you're not just a football player or former football player. Actually, are you still waiting on a phone call?
We just, hey man, they call me. I'm ready to go at all times.
Hey, there we go. Hey, you never know what can happen, because after the first, and it's been a hot summer.
Yeah,
what
people
happens.
Get hurt. Them hammies go.
Get hurt. They're like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So if you have to take that call while we're going, I understand if you need to step away. But I'm curious, when did you make the turn into becoming an entrepreneur, and how did you know that was something to do?
Well, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, even since college. I guess maybe like me being broke in college and wanting to create income. And I was always told that a hustler worries about paying for his bills. A businessman just worries about growing his business because he has assets.
Say it again for the people in the back. Say it again for the people in the back.
A hustler worries about paying his bills. A businessman worries about growing his business because he has assets that pays his bills. He doesn't have to worry about bills because his assets pay for it. So I knew that I wanted to own my own thing, and I had no problem working. You can still get wealthy by having a 9 to 5, but that's a whole nother thing. But I knew I wanted to have a business. I knew I wanted to do certain things. And I guess, honestly, me just getting cut. I played the Giants. I thought, okay, I'm undrafted. I done made the team. I'm making good money. Man, after this, I know I'm going to handle everything. But then the politics get in there. Things start happening. I'm getting cut. And I'm like, dang, okay, I need to figure something else. I need to do something else to create my money. And I still wanted to play football, but I need my money to make money. And not every business worked out, which, everything doesn't always work out. I lost some money, and every businessman has.
What was your first entrepreneur?
Was Airbnbs. I had like 5 Airbnbs out here in Dallas.
Okay.
So they were doing well at first, but then Dallas was passing these laws of like, no Airbnbs.
People getting in the way. They're like, wait a minute.
Getting in the way. Yeah. So then people started just undercutting people, doing Airbnbs for really cheap. Didn't make no sense because I know you're not making money. And then I ended up getting kicked out of my apartment complex, not because I did anything wrong, but they ended up selling the apartments. So a new team came in. Obviously, they saw I had these units. They're like, why do you have 3-4 units? And I was like, I do Airbnb. I had a previous agreement. They're like, well, we don't want to honor that agreement, so you have to get out. Now, that was obviously a bad thing for me because I did some cash for the furniture and some on credit cards. And some of the business credit cards that I had, the revenue from the Airbnb was paying for the business credit cards. So me not having that revenue anymore, now I have to pay out of pocket to pay those cards off and pay them down. And that was like my first lesson in business. Like, dang, maybe I stretched myself too thin. Maybe I should have waited a little bit. And then I ended up getting cut that year too. So now I don't have any income. So now I'm paying my bills, this rent, and still trying to live. And that's where it got a whole world. But that happens in business. I kept fighting through. I paid it off since then and just kept fighting. But that was it. Then obviously I went into getting the private security business and ended up investing in a gym and different things like that. But that was kind of how my transition went. And me being undrafted and getting cut, I knew I needed to make money outside of football, and I knew that I needed assets so I don't have to worry about bills anymore, or those take care of my bills, I should say.
Got it. So what was the aha moment for you where you realized that as an entrepreneur, you get to do things a little bit differently, or when you started learning more about having the assets? Because you mentioned with the Airbnb, those were just assets you were renting and then renting them out for a greater cost. When did you realize, wait, I need to own the asset, own the business? What was that moment?
When I ended up getting kicked out of the apartment complex, I told myself I'm never going to rent from nobody ever again. I'm going to own everything 100% because they dictated my income. A lot of businesses out here are dictated by certain factors, but the fact is that they were able to take my income away, take me paying off, debt, business debt, because they own the asset. And that's where I was like, okay, that was like 2023. I was like, okay, that's never going to happen again. I need to start owning my stuff and really being diligent, and maybe just taking some more time about, okay, maybe I need to be more cautious about when I get into stuff. What is my backup plan? Having a better reserves, having better contingencies, and just learning things that way.
Got it. So what would be your advice then, now that we have, going back to the NIL, we have these student athletes that are getting access to capital that, again, they face the same thing. Who knows if they're going to the league? Who knows if they have that career limiting injury, et cetera, the politics of it all, et cetera, and we've seen it. We see it all the time where people we think have great, talent and skill, and draft day by draft day by draft day. And it's like, wait, now I'm unsigned, free agent. What would be your advice to those NIL athletes that are starting to get some access to some capital, to preserve that capital and improve their money script?
Well, one, obviously having a budget, but two, they still get a stipend check. A lot of them could live off the stipend check. Now, I know that's not as glamorous. That's not as advantageous to people that's driving the G-Wagons and have. I'm not saying not to get a car and have some clothes, whatever, but maybe you don't need that big chain yet. Maybe you need to just live off the stipend check and a little bit of your NIL money, put that away, buy some stocks. When I tell people to buy stocks, I just tell them to get ETFs because it's easy. DOO, SCHD, just do that. Yeah, we're not watching the market enough to buy individual stocks. Get some of that, and then honestly, get together with a couple of your teammates and go buy a crib out there. Because a lot of people need places to live. I tell my young bulls, if you got enough money, bro, ask your parents, hey, can you co-sign and we can rent a house out here and I can have a house where I can live in. Your roommates pay rent. They get money every month. For a fact. Let's not. Now, some of these NIL dudes are living paycheck to paycheck, but they get a stipend check every month to pay rent. They live in this house. When you graduate, you get a good relationship with the school, and the school keeps sending you clients for life.
One of the greatest investments one of my other clients ever made is when her daughter went to Baylor. Her daughter was dead set on Baylor. So we're going to make it happen. And she said, I don't want her to live on campus. Let's go find a house in what they call the Baylor bubble.
Yep.
And we found a house in the bubble. And by the time her daughter was done with school, that house had almost doubled in value.
Yep, absolutely.
And the roommates paid the mortgage the whole time.
Yep, whole time. They got to pay rent. It's part of life. They have to. They got to live somewhere.
They have to. I had to have I was helping out with managing. I had to have a couple conversations with some parents, like, hey, look,
of course, help him out.
Not paying his rent.
Help him out.
You for it.
Yeah.
And then, and then they write the check for the whole year. It's like, you should have led with that. All right, he's good.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
That was a great investment. That house at the end of the day did not cost my client, her daughter, anything.
Right.
Because the tenant, and we could have kept it going, but she just decided, she was like, we're not going. We're only going to go to Baylor to go to football games. We'll go get an investment somewhere else closer to home.
Absolutely.
But that's good advice. I like that. All right.
The fourth one, obviously spending money on your brand, but the brand one, there's not to mention the brand because everybody's different. And some guys are not going to be able to, or women too. The women are crushing it. The WNBA and the women's basketball, they're crushing brand deals because they have personality. They're posting. They're being themselves. A lot of football players and basketball players are doing good too. Football players think they're too cool for school. They don't want to post. They don't want to do the deals. They don't want to make the TikToks and all this stuff. But I'd be like, why? If you develop a brand throughout your whole college career, whether you make it to league or not, people will remember you. People remember that, and you'll still be able to get those brand deals after. That's why Angela Reese and Clark and all them girls are able to make so much more money because they're showing their true personality through their brand deals, and they're crushing it and obliging by the obligations. I've seen dudes pass up on so much money in the league because, I forgot to post. I forgot to make a video about it. I mean, one dude, he was getting like $10K a month to post about this backpack that they were giving him. He's like, I don't like posting on Instagram, so I'm not going to post it. I don't really need the money.
Wow.
Now, obviously, I couldn't get no deals like that because I'm undrafted. But I'm like, you can tell me you're not going to post on Instagram for $10K a month? You're crazy. But hey, teachers on, huh?
For $10K a month, I'm going to hire someone and pay them $500 a month to post for me. Done.
Thank you. Done. No big deal.
Done.
Take the pictures. He'll post. Done. That's what I say.
Matter of fact, pay somebody else $500. Hey, come take the pictures. Here, give them to him. Post them.
Yes. Done. Post them. That's it. But now athletes are understanding that athletes' brand deals are going to run out because we have influencers now. We don't need, like before when I was coming out, obviously I didn't get it because of COVID, but I used to give everybody that $10K Nike credit. Everybody's going to Nike store and get all that stuff. They don't do that no more. They don't need athletes anymore. You have to be a top athlete in a professional sport to get major brand deals and to actually get money from these brands because influencers are doing a better job. Why pay you who doesn't post, who has no Instagram presence, who has no TikTok, no YouTube presence, but I can go pay this influencer who has 1 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah, and it's the off season, so you're not on TV every single week. et cetera. Yeah. Yep. No, you're right.
Why do you think every basketball player, like look at Anthony Edwards? People love his YouTube channel. I love his YouTube channel too. The content, they like to see the raw, the grittiness. Why is every athlete having a YouTube, having a TikTok, and hiring brand people to do these things? Because that's going to keep you relevant. That's going to keep the deals flowing in. That's going to keep you in the room. Just being a football player, just being a basketball player, that's not enough anymore. They want to see you in Paris Fashion Week. They want to see if you do this. They want to see that. Everybody wants to see that. And if not, we'll go the influencer route. We'll go to Kai Cenats. We'll go to Duke Dennis's. We'll go to the Aiden Rosses. We'll go to them because they're posting every day. They're streaming every day.
And now's a good time to remind you to like and subscribe because we are on YouTube as well. And don't just like and subscribe because you're doing it for me or doing it for Madre. Do it for the person that hasn't seen it yet. The more you like and subscribe and click, the higher it goes in the algorithm so other people can discover us. Don't keep us a secret because Madre's over here dropping gems. If you are a student athlete and you are listening to this right now and you didn't learn something, pause, stop whatever it was you were doing that was distracting you. Go get your notebook, rewind it back about 28 minutes and hit play again and take some notes and take some action. These are the things that are going to impact the rest of your financial life. It's
Absolutely.
The decisions that you make now. The beauty about decisions is that we can make any decision we want. However, we don't get to choose the consequences of those decisions. If you want the right consequence, and I'm not saying consequences good versus bad, consequence meaning the result of those decisions. If you want better consequences, make better decisions. And that's what we're here to help you do. So Absolutely. I want to get into where we began at the top of our show, because like we said, a lot of news. I mean, the news is crazy in these days. It's changing every day. So just as we were preparing for this episode, the president signed a new executive order called, what did he call it again? I don't know. Make
the big beautiful bill, whatever. Make athlete great again. A big beautiful
saving college sports. Here we go. Saving, because college sports need to be saved, right?
Ish.
Okay.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah. So here's a direct impasse, and because this is new, family, I'm going to read this for those of you watching on YouTube. Be like, oh, is he reading? Yes, he is. So the order explicitly bans third-party pay-for-play payments to collegiate athletes while still allowing for legitimate fair market value compensation for brand endorsements. So I don't even quite understand that. You probably know more about that than me. What do you know what they're trying? Do you know what he's trying to do there?
When he says third-party, because okay, so like I don't know if you know about the college setup. There's a collective, and then there's like the donors. So basically, like the school has money.
Exactly.
The donorship has money.
Okay.
And then a third party would be like, I guess if they're them trying to, like some small schools are trying to get money from, let's say, outside sources.
Whether that's taken, so he's saying that, like, if I, like me as Money Script, I can't come and pay you, collegiate athlete, directly. I got to go through the school.
He's trying to make it go. He's trying to make it go through the school. Yeah, instead of having like, and I guess
that kind of levels the playing field. I don't think that's bad.
Playing field. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it depends on the schools. Some schools have better reach, to
That's
get.
True. Yeah, if I think about our HBCUs, they're in trouble.
Now you can still sponsor an athlete and do all that because that's an endorsement. It's still different. But as far as like these big sums of money, they want people to go through the collective and go through the school because that's supposed to be a better delegation of the money. Blah 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 blah. But who really knows? I mean, who knows where any of this money comes from? We all know it comes from donors in the school, but who knows? Who really knows? Nobody's checking their finances.
No, not at all. So the order also states that any revenue sharing allowed between universities and athletes should be implemented in a manner that protects women's and non-revenue sports.
That's Title IX. So, guys, I love my women. I do. But let's be honest. I'm just trying to be quite frank. That's why we haven't got our NIL payment yet. The whole suing the NCAA, trying to get our back pay, whatever, because some women are saying that the money is not evenly distributed. And I say to that, football and basketball are the better grossing sports. That's just a fact. That's not saying that their sports are not adequate. I'm not saying that. But let's be honest. Is track going to make as much money as football? No. So who should get more money? Now, yes, they feel like it should distribute it evenly, but at the same time, football generates a lot more money, and everybody knows that football, basketball, the bigger sports, help pay scholarships for the smaller sports. That's just a fact.
But what about now? Hold on now. Women's basketball has grown in tremendous popularity, probably not since 2021, but yet that's more recently. Like during COVID,
more recently now. This is true, and they may have to revisit it every year, but they still have to track the growth. It's always going to be like should the women's basketball or the women's that do track, long distance, steeplechase, things like that, should they make as much as football players? I don't know. I don't think so, just because of the money revenue. And yes, when they get to a certain weight, WNBA is going crazy. They do deserve to get paid more. They just signed a big TV deal.
Did you see the shirts they were wearing?
Yeah, they should. They just signed a huge TV
They
deal.
said,
They need
"Pay us
higher
what you
revenue.
owe us." I was like, "Whoa!" Like
But hey,
everybody,
I agree.
I like how they lock together,
They
man.
stand together. They lock together because
Whoa.
they know that they lock together, but they have this steady growth. And I think people talk so much about the NBA. Oh my God, I mean WNBA. Oh my God, they don't. The NBA pays for them. First of all, WNBA has only been around 30 years. The NBA was not successful at 30-year mark. And they're making way better
No,
growth.
actually, no. At the 30-year mark, it was still the ABA and the actually wasn't even the NBA. It was still ABA.
Come on now.
The other
So
one. Yeah.
I think people just don't know their history on that. That's why they're saying that, but they don't understand they're only 30 years in. That's not that long.
Yeah. So as a financial planner, shout out to all of my former WNBA players. I worked with about a dozen of them. So
We
I
love
met
them.
an agent back in my early years as a financial planner when I was working with other athletes. Started working with all of his WNBA players, and we had so much fun. Those women were some of the best financial students I ever worked with.
I'm telling you, women they're outdoing the men in everything. Financial brand deals, partnerships. They're crushing it. I be trying to tell all the dudes, we got to get like them. I'm trying to tell they are taking full advantage.
And playing, and they were playing in the States and take a month off, go play overseas.
They doing it big.
Come right back to. I mean, they were playing 11 out of 12 months.
Yes, absolutely, to make that money. So
to make that money,
they deserve to be paid more. They just signed a new TV deal. The ratings are up. Pay them. Raise it up.
Indeed. And as a girl dad and a little girl that loves basketball, I'm all for it as well. So
now college, we got to see about college. We got to see about college.
Yeah,
I don't know yet.
Yeah,
we got to see.
So another part of the executive order orders the Secretary of Labor and National Labor Relations Board to clarify the status of student athletes in order to preserve non-revenue sports and educational opportunities. What does that mean? Should these athletes be labeled as employees?
No.
Who was it that just signed the deal that wanted the NFL to pay his LLC? I thought that was cold-blooded.
Caleb tried that. That's never going to happen.
He tried it. You can't do that because the NFL
we're a W-2. We are an employee. They run a business.
Exactly. So do you feel then why do you think if the NFL players are employees, why aren't the college athletes?
Well, because one, the NFL can continue to grow their business, can continue to everything they do is a business.
Oh, there's an end date. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's no like everything's a business. At college, they're still in college. They're getting this money from donorships, from endorsements, from stuff that they're building on their own. If I'm a top college player and Joe's Crab Shack wants to pay me $1 million, I'm not an employee of Joe's Crab Shack. I just have an endorsement because whatever contract we negotiate is going to be the length of however it's going to be. It may only be 2 months. It may only be a year. I could transfer the next month. And am I going to keep having to reapply as an employee because I keep getting these type of endorsements? Or if the school's collective is paying me, the schools are tax exempt. What taxes are they paying?
Okay.
Now, the athletes may pay taxes, but the school is tax exempt. So the collective giving them the money, they're not paying taxes on. So I don't understand the reason to be an employee.
Let me argue on that though. So, but if you're an employee, you get certain rights as an employee: health insurance, unemployment insurance, workers' comp insurance. And that's the thing. You get injured. If you get injured in the NFL and you have, depending on your contract, there can be some compensation for that. But in college, you're not if you're not an employee.
Well, as long as I don't speak for football, I don't know about the other sports, but for football, they take care of everything. If you go to a Power 5, I should say. Smaller schools obviously have a little less, but let's talk about Power 5. If I get sick, I go to the team doctor. If I tear my ACL, I go to the team doctor. If I'm not playing the season because I'm injured, I'm at the team doctor, team rehab. I'm not losing my scholarship because I'm injured. You may reduce some NIL money, but you're not going to be out on the streets. So I see what you're saying about benefits, but what benefits do you need? If I need to go to the dentist, they're going to take you to the dentist.
Okay.
If you need to go to the doctor, they're going to take you to the doctor. They're going to do everything you need them to do in college. Those benefits have not went away.
Got it. Okay. Fair enough. Look, I've had an amazing time with you, Madre. I really appreciate this. We're gonna have to do this again.
Mhm.
And by the way, man,
Absolutely.
we wanted to do this live, but we scheduled this in like the last 2 weeks. I was traveling,
Yeah.
moving around,
Yeah,
and
you're
it's, you know
good.
what? Let's do it the old-fashioned way. We're gonna do something live here soon. Have some fun with it.
Absolutely.
With every one of our guests that we have on the show, there is a question that we like to ask them about money scripts. And as I
Mhm.
mentioned, a money script is the unconscious and sometimes conscious things we learn about money and develops our relationships. So we're curious to know if you could tell our listeners, what is your first memory of money?
My first memory of money. So I was always the kid who talked too much in school. Okay, guys, because I was just too smart. So my mom used to give me a quarter a day for not wanting to get my planner signed, at school. So I used to save up all those quarters so I could go to the book fair and I could go cash out at the book fair. And that's where I first really started figuring about saving, doing a task to earn money, saving it to go spend it. And that was my first. I know, guys. I'm sorry for that. I was talking too much in school, but yeah, it was
No,
like
that's
elementary.
good.
Yeah, it gave me a
That's
quarter
good.
a day.
That's a new. Hey, that's a new. We haven't heard that one yet. That's a new one. I
Yeah,
love that. Hey, shout out to your mother for
yeah.
instilling that financial literacy in you because it shows. Now, before we go, I know as an entrepreneur here in the DFW, you've got a couple of businesses. Why don't you go ahead and tell everyone what your businesses are and if they want to get in touch with you for your services, how they can find you.
Guys, I got a private security and security transportation business, Infinite Protection on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Infinite Protection LLC. Y'all can hit me up for anything security needs, armed, unarmed, black trucks, whatever you guys need. Also vested in a performance gym, APE Fitness in Grapevine, South Lake area. We train all kids from adults to high school to middle schools, whatever, man. We got the best performance in the city. Come out, get right, get fit. Everything's good to go.
Indeed. And now this protection services, you also do transportation as well.
Yes, sir, we do. Black trucks, Escalades, big
See, and,
bodies.
so how about I'm ordering my Uber, getting off the plane, and I'm just waiting, scrolling, and I see that, and I was like,
Mhm.
and I think the post you put is like, hey, request me, and I'll come pick you up myself. And I was
I'll
like,
come pick
man,
you up myself.
I should
I'm
have
a
did it.
hustler. I'm gonna get out there. I'll come pick you up myself. Airport pickup and drop off in a brand new Escalade, man. Of
Oh
course.
man. All right. Well, next trip, I'm hitting you up.
Yes,
Next
absolutely.
trip,
I
I'm hitting
got
you
you.
up.
I got you. I got you.
Everyone, thank you for joining us for our premiere episode of season, I think it's like season 7. I lost count. But here we are again, back with the Money Script podcast. Like I said, while I was on those side quests, those are running and going. If you are listening and you are a physician or a medical student, please go check out Becoming an Attending. It's where I interview physicians and they talk about the money lessons they wish they had known when they were transitioning from
Mm.
medical school to residency to attending. And for those of you in medical school, Donnie signed another, or well, not just Donnie, whole Congress signed a new tax law. They are reducing the amount of money that you can borrow
Yeah.
from the government. As a medical
Yep.
student, you're usually borrowing somewhere from 40 to 80,000 a year. That's now capped at 30,500 and a lifetime cap. So if you're
Yep.
medical school, if you're medical year 1, year 2, and you think that's going to be an issue for you, holla at me. Okay. I can give you some strategies to how you're going to work around that. For those of you that are advisors and you're still listening to the Money Script podcast, hey, I appreciate you. We're in the same business. Our role is here to help people make better financial decisions. But no, I have another podcast specifically for you, Only Human. Let's talk about how AI is coming into our businesses and how we can use it, leverage it, and stay human at the same time. For everyone else that's just a loyal Money Script podcast listener, I thank you, bless you. Thank you for coming to spend some time with us. Remember, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to come get some financial literacy today. Thank you, Madre, for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
I'm back. Wasn't that a great show? I hope you learned something. I know I did. Now, before you go trying anything you heard today, remember it is not intended to be specific tax or legal advice. If you need that, go see a CPA or an attorney. If you would like any complimentary consultation with a knowledgeable advisor, visit moneyscript.com and schedule a 15-minute consultation. Want Johans to come to speak at your next event? Go to the Money Script website for that too. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. MoneyScript Wealth Management is a registered financial advisory service in multiple states. Want to learn more? Get the full disclosure on our website, moneyscript.com.